to Theo after Christmas. We've lots planned for the term, but I suppose just to apologise for this for starting late, and without further ado, to give you Harpeet Singh of the Irish Sikh Council.
Good evening, everyone. As you can see my name, I don't know if everybody can see. First of all, don't have to go too much. Maybe if you want to move
Sorry.
I work a lot with the Irish Sikh Council, and Michael contacted us recently asking me to do a brief presentation about the Sikh faith and the Sikh community in Ireland. And I did a recent talk in Church of Ireland, in one of the churches in Dalkey, and the theme there was to look at the compassion and religion together. And I had a presentation which was very good. I wanted to bring that one in today, but unfortunately the laptop that I was using, my son just somehow accidentally it fell off the table and the whole thing broke, and I probably will need some more time to recover all the stuff which was in that. But in the meantime, I tried to put together something brief between about 40-45 minutes. I should be able to talk about the faith itself, how it started, and maybe what I'm probably going to try and do here is talk through looking at the history of Sikhism from start to where we are now, and going through the key events that led to the building of the foundations of the faith itself. And I hope you will find it interesting. So before we get any delay, I'll just quickly start. So here I am. The picture is slightly older. I have more grey or white hair in my beard now. This was taken as part of the FOMAX project that we did in 2006. It was called a Sikh Face in Ireland, and there was an exhibition in Chesterfield Library, and it received a lot of positive, I would say, attention from the people who visited. Initially it was supposed to be for about a month, but there was such a good, huge response that they ended up extending it for nearly 3 months. And I'm an IT project manager. I work in a bank. Before people start taking out guns or think about throwing stones, I'm not one of the guys who caused all the mess in the banks. I used to work in social care, and my background is in IT, so it's nothing to do with banks as such. And also I work with Bank of America Merrill Lynch at the moment as an IT project manager. And I was hired about 3 years ago when the whole financial crisis started. So I'm one of the good guys, hopefully, who were brought in to clean up all the mess and things that were going on in these banks. And I'm also a founder member, and I worked as the national coordinator for the Irish Sikh Council, which was founded in 2004. So I worked with it on a sort of I have a long association with it. But I have slowly now in last 1 or 2 years stepped back a little bit from day-to-day management because of my family and other work-related commitments. But I still try to engage as much as I can. And I also served as the president of the management committee in the Gurdwara, Guru Nanak Dev Ji. That's the only Sikh place of worship on the whole, sort of within the Republic of Ireland itself. And it's based in Ballsbridge. I don't know if you have been around RDS. There is a road on the side of AAB headquarter building, and after that, if you cross the railway crossing, it's about 100 meters from there, and there is a flag posted outside, so you can very easily identify it. That's the only Sikh place of worship in Ireland, and I served as the management president on that from 2006 to 2010. So probably enough about me. Just to start, to tell you, if you are meeting a Sikh, how we greet each other, generally it will be by folding our hands like this and saying Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. And as you can see the translation there, in those whose heart there is love for the wonderful God, their victories are God's victories. So that's the way of greeting when we meet. Generally, people would press hands together or just embrace a quick one. So that's the way most of the people who follow the Sikh faith would meet and greet each other. Again, although Sikhism is probably the fifth largest religion in the world. A lot of people still don't know about the Sikhs at all. There's a huge population of Sikhs in UK, in US, in Canada. But post 9/11, there was a lot of incidents where Sikhs were sort of mistaken for being followers just because of the identity, the way people look at you, and considering us to be members of like Taliban or followers of Bin Laden and so on. So there were a lot of sort of racial and very serious, severe sort of race crime against Sikhs. Like the most shocking part is that when 9/11 happened, the first person who was shot dead in the US was a Sikh who owned a gas station, just because he wore a turban and he had a beard. So these are just some very quick stats to show you that Sikhs, like any other faith, Sikhism is being followed by not only people from where it was founded, I will just quickly come to that, but across the globe, a lot of people from different race, ethnicity have adopted Sikhism as their faith. Again, in most of the Western countries, if you look at 99% of the people who you will come across wearing turban are Sikhs. So again, I think in Eastern countries, Middle East, there is a cultural tradition of wearing turbans. So it's not just the Sikhs, but people from other faiths also would be wearing turbans or some sort of headdress. But majority of the people that you come across within the Western countries, Sikhs are the prominent ones who have kept this tradition, a faith-based practice alive, wearing the turban. That picture there on that corner, the middle one, that's my son with his face. So Sikhs started migrating from Punjab in India in early 1950s when India gained independence from there on. I think it was a colonial association with the Britishers, so that was the sort of early migrants who traveled to UK, and then slowly after that the migration increased. There were people before the independence of India, before 1947 also, I'm like going back to within 1800, people came over for studies and all those. But the large sort of influx when you see related to economic connection in terms of going out to earn their living mainly started in 1950s. And in UK, that's the rough estimated number based on the census. There are about 500,000 in US and Canada. In Ireland, there are no official figures as such, but based on our estimates, there are roughly around 2,000 to 2,500 Sikhs throughout, like including the north as well. And again, you will find Sikhs in all sort of areas like doctors, politicians, engineers, teachers. That man on the top left corner is Fauja Singh. He is a world record holder for being the oldest man. Now he is over 100. This picture was, and maybe I forgot to update this slide, he is now already 101 years of age. And there has been some controversy around Guinness Book were planning to give him sort of recognition for that, but because he was born in India at a time when there was sort of no concept of issuing birth certificates, so he doesn't have any official document to show that. So that's the reason why he couldn't get his name entered. But he was one of the torchbearers in the London Olympics recently as well. So he's the oldest known sort of person who runs marathon. Monty Python, most probably if you are following cricket by any chance would know. And then there's a modern Hollywood actor, Boris Singh Ahluwalia, and Dr. Narendra Singh Kapni, not very famous otherwise, but within academic or technical circles people know because he was the founder of optics, fiber optics, which if it wasn't there, we probably all won't have all the broadband high-speed connections. And there is a long tradition of Sikhs serving in defense forces, coming from the historical background. The Sikhs love to be part of the defense forces wherever they go. And as this picture shows you, that on the top left corner is the picture of the first Sikh who joined the US Army. And then on the right side is one of the person who won a Victoria Cross. And again, the bluish one, I think from Sweden, then from Canada. So there's a lot of diaspora, and people have served in the UN peacekeeping missions as well. A lot of Sikhs, because of the association of the British in India at that time, because India wasn't an independent country at that time, fought as part of the Allied forces in the First and the Second World War as well. And more than, I think, 83,000 Sikh soldiers died during the World Wars, and I think about more than 100,000 plus got injured or severely injured during those wars. Just very quickly, some key facts about Sikhism. Sikh word itself it comes from, a lot of people say that this word has its origin in Sanskrit word called Shishya. Shishya means disciple of a guru, and Sikh, when it translates in using the Punjabi dialect, it means a learner, person who always wants to learn new things. The faith was started by Guru Nanak, who was born in 1469, and a lot of people confuse Sikhism to be either a part of Hinduism or Islam, but it's a distinct religion, and it's not sort of a mixture of any other religions. And if you are students of religion, when you study the Sikh scriptures, there is a very, very clear, distinct set of principles that differentiate it from any other major faiths in the world. And through that picture, I'm just trying to at a very high level show you what Sikhism stands for. The basic concept is recognize all human race as one, and that symbol on the left side is the first two words that start the Holy Sikh scripture, Guru Granth Sahib, meaning Ik Onkar, there is only but one God. And as on this right side, so the life of Sikh revolves around this sort of three pillars: Kirat Karo, Naam Japo, Van Shako. Kirat means earn your honest living. Naam Japo means meditate on the name of God. And Van Shako means whatever you have earned, share it with others and needy people. And live by 5 principles of compassion, love, humility, contentment, and truth. And not completely dissociate, because you can't completely, but try to control your ego, lust, anger, attachment, and greed. So these are the sort of founding or base principles of the Sikh faith. This is very quick. This is one of the translations from Guru Granth Sahib. I know it's a very long, and probably I will put this slide in the end if there is time, just if you want to read it. And it talks very beautifully about how God created the whole universe and how the whole, you can say, His creation came into existence. There were 10 Sikh gurus in human form who led from the foundation to its current form, the religion, for roughly around, I would say, 200 to 300 years of total period. And Guru for us, although the words, if you translate it, means a teacher, but it's more than a teacher. For a Sikh, Guru himself is sort of, you can say, God's own form that cannot be put into a cycle of life or death, but it's the word itself that a Sikh is supposed to follow. And that's where Sikhs consider that those 10 bodies of the gurus. So although just because one person was born, we don't consider that person itself became God. When Guru Nanak was born, at that time the only 2 major religions that were being followed in India were Hinduism and Islam. And Guru Nanak was born, his parents followed the Hindu faith. So a lot of people confuse that because Guru Nanak was born into a Hindu family, he basically was a Hindu himself. But when you go to his very early life and look at the things that happened in Guru Nanak's life and how he got enlightenment, it's very clear that Guru Nanak, as soon as he was born, Sikhs consider that he himself, God himself, sort of ordained him the title of Guru. And from there on itself, the Sikh faith started. So we don't consider that Guru Nanak got entitled to enlightenment at the age of 35 or 70 or so and so. It's as soon as he was born, just within a fraction of a second, it's believed that Guru Nanak, the God's light or whatever word I don't know to call it, came into Guru Nanak, and from there on, he had this title of Guru forever. And then after the 10 Gurus, the last 10th Guru, from there on, that he asked the Sikhs that from here on there won't be any Gurus in human form. All the teachings of the 10 Gurus, whatever was written, and also the teachings of people from other faiths as well, who came and became the disciples of the Gurus, from Islam, from Hinduism, from a lot of different tradition and cultural sort of backgrounds. And if their writings were found to be in accordance with the Sikh philosophy, they were considered as part and added by the Gurus themselves. And probably I think if you look at the older sort of faiths and traditions, Sikhism is probably the only faith where the religious, again we don't call it the book, scripture, has been written by the Gurus themselves. So it hasn't been written by the disciples or anybody after the Gurus went away from this world, but the Gurus themselves. So as I said, I will try to very quickly run through these few slides just to show you how the faith was founded and what each Guru sort of, although we consider that all of them were same, but every one of them slowly and slowly, because the society they were living in at that time when Guru Nanak came into this world, India at that time was not sort of a one big country itself. There were a lot of different sort of princely states being ruled by different kings. And the Mughals invaded India around that time. The first Mughal ruler, his name was Babur, and there was already a lot of chaos, mayhem in the Indian society because of all these different sort of infighting going on between different kingdoms, and the Mughals invading India at that time. And there was a lot of bloodshed going on around at that time when Guru Nanak was born. So probably they were not the best time, but when you look at it, when Guru Nanak came, the society was divided into a lot of different things, caste-based. Like Hindus had a very old sort of rigid model of caste where Brahmins, who were supposed to be the priest class, were supposed to be the highest, and then as you go down based on your profession, people at the lowest level were the women and the untouchables. And the divide was such big that women were not allowed to enter the places of worship, the temples. Same was the case for the low caste people, who would be sort of people like weavers and people who would be working on things like making shoes. So professions which were considered sort of low, those people were considered untouched. And the things were so bad that even if somebody passed in front of you, and if the higher caste person was standing there, and if even the shadow of that person fell on the high caste person, he said that his shadow has made me impure, so I'll have to go through a lot of sort of religious and spiritual sort of purifying myself. And in fact, the same was true for women as well. Women were being sort of kept in sort of similar circumstances. And those were the challenging times when Guru Nanak came. And he was born in the place now is called Nankana Sahib, based after his name. And he was born in 1469. And this picture, the map on the right hand side, this is the very old picture sort of taken when India wasn't independent. At that time there was an unpartitioned Punjab. At the moment when India and Pakistan got independence in 1947, the Punjab itself, one of the state, was split into two countries. So Guru Nanak, if you have to look at from today's perspective, was born in the Lahore site, which is now in Pakistan. And these were the first words that Guru Nanak said, and they are considered the Mool Mantra, or the base of Sikhism. And this is how he described the God. Ek Omkar, there is only one God. His name is the only true name. And He is the creator. Nirbhav means He is without any fear. Nirvair, He has no enmity. Akal Murat, meaning He is immortal. Ajuni means beyond birth and death. Savam means God is self-existent. And Guru Prasad, we can realize God by kindness of the true. And I think I've already covered these three, but again, Guru Nanak gave these three basic principles of Kirt Karna, meaning earning your honest living. And these were his words which are translated here. Truth is higher than everything, but higher still is truthful living. Naam Japna, meaning remembering the God. The peace of the meditative remembrance of God has no end or limitation. And then one Shakna with sharing with others. And it's not just something that's taught. It's a practical, you can say, if I consider myself as a Sikh, I'm required to give 10% of my earnings, and no, not before the tax, whatever the final salary that I will be, or whatever income I get after paying all my taxes and everything, whatever after that, 10% of my earnings should go to a charity, for a charitable cause. So that was one of the principles that where one Shakna or sharing with others comes into practice. The second Guru, Guru Angad Dev, he became Guru around 1539, and although Guru Nanak had started some of these things, but Guru Angad Dev, he started the formalized concept of a community kitchen. And now if you go around anywhere in the world, and if you come across a Sikh place of worship called Gurdwara, you will always find a community kitchen attached to it, serving hot meal nearly every day. Most of them have it every day, depending on, I think some probably maybe over the weekends only, but they generally would have, if somebody wants to knock on the door, there will always be somebody who will attend to you to provide meals, hot meals. If there's nothing, they will cook it specially. So that concept is still being carried on. And this concept was not just about feeding the poor or anything like that, because at time of those gurus, the Emperor of India himself came, and Guru said that I won't see you unless you go and eat the langar. And the reason was that Guru, as I said earlier, that there was a lot of distinction going on within the communities in terms of class, religion, and everything that you can imagine. But Guru Angad said that we all are equal. We are all children of the same God. So there should not be any distinction as such. Women, men, children of any caste, any creed, any religion. We should be able to sit together, eat food together. And there should not be anything like that. If you are a king, you have to have a special chair to sit, and then the poor person has to sit on the floor. No, everyone has to sit together on the floor at the same level. And that's the concept even now being followed in the Gurdwaras. Although at home I will be sitting at a dining table for meals, but when we go to the Gurdwara, we will be sitting on the floor, as you can see in the picture, and the food is served on floor itself. So you don't sit on chairs or tables or anything like that, just keeping everybody equal. The third Guru, Guru Amar Das. And again, as I'm going through these, one of the things probably you will notice, again, these are all artist impressions. There are no original pictures of the Gurus. And Sikhs don't believe in worshipping pictures or idols, anything like that, but just an artist's impression based on the qualities or the age that they heard about. And as we go along, you will see that there is a lot of sort of age variation as well in the Guru's age. Guru Amar Das was the third Guru who became Guru at a very, very old age of 74 or 75. Guru Nanak, as I said, from birth. And then as I go along, I will come across the eighth Guru who was only 5 years of age when he became the Guru. And there are documented stories about the miracles, if you want to call them by that name, at the age of 5. Just trying to show that the knowledge has no age bounds as well. It's not just about other things, also age is one of the factors where Sikhism considers that my son, even if it is, he's 6 years old, has power, has those virtues of knowledge and everything if used. And about the Guru Amar Das, again, as that he was the forefathers of abolishing the caste practice and also the practice of sati. That practice still goes on in India in some of the